I've got a lot of respect for anyone who organises anything like a stag do or a hen do. It's a lot of admin, it's a lot of pressure. I couldn't handle it myself. I know that because I had to do it about 5 years ago for my friend Ed, and it was not a success. And Ed's request was simple. He wanted to go canal boating on his local canal. I booked the boat. We arrived at the dock in the morning to discover that the boat had a max capacity of 12, and we were a party of 13. And my punishment for being the chief architect of this baker's dozen snafu was that I was the twat who had to spend the entirety of the 2 hours walking along the towpath next to the canal, trying to join in with the nautical banter from the humiliating safety of dry land. Any of you ever shouted, "Aye, me hearties" from a cycle path? It's a low point when you know in your soul you're not one of the hearties. Later that day, I'd organised a trip to a beer factory where, due to another admin error, we had enough time to tour the factory, but not enough time to drink any beer at the end of it. I quite literally failed to organise a piss-up in a brewery. That's why I'm not even usually on the Stag committee. Obviously, a lot of admin does go into these things. There'd been a lot of admin gone into this stag do after the lockdown. The best man revealed at one point during the day that he'd printed off masks of the groom's face for us all to wear. What a twist this was. We all to wear masks of Andy's face. There we all were, nodding at each other, going, "Look at us, we've transformed into an even more homogenous group of white men than we were before. We're the biggest legends in this gastropub." Even Andy had to wear one. He wasn't delighted by this turn of events, wearing a mask of his own face on his stag do. At one point he said, "But I'm already me." What an existential crisis to have to grapple with on your big day. Also, he wore his mask most of the afternoon. He had a lot to drink. At one point, he stumbled into the pub toilet to be sick. He returned to tell a story of how he'd gone in, lifted up his happy, fresh-faced start-of-day mask to reveal the blotchy hell underneath it, hurled disgustingly into the bowl, and then Dorian Grayed himself straight back into his own stag do. The rest of us, we took off the masks almost immediately, because they were quite hot and quite cumbersome. Took off the masks, regained our original identities, finished our shandies, off to the archery range. We must stick to the schedule. I thought about this again a few months later. Following January, I was isolating at home with COVID and Wordle. I decided in my isolation, while sorting out my stuff, that I was going to throw away my mask of my friend Andy's face from the stag do, because it was taking up too much space in my feelings box. I'm sure I don't need to explain the concept of a feelings box to any of you. It's a box in my home into which I throw anything of any nostalgic potential whatsoever. I love the past. I love to think about it constantly, obsessively, borderline self-harmingly. You can't change it, but boy, you can think about it. The future, much more intimidating and unknowable. No thank you. The past, great. The future, bad. The present, fine. Main attribute, proximity to the past. The best seats in the house. So in they go, into the feelings box, all the old tickets and photographs and receipts and trinkets, but obviously stuff does get thrown occasionally. The mask, it was too big, and also it didn't pass the other test, the hoarder's ultimate delusion, reuse potential. I am clinging on to some real shit in my life in the desperate hope I might get to use it again at some point in the future, and I'll feel clever. I'll save a tiny bit of money, I'll connect momentarily with my past, and I'll feel that a narrative arc has been satisfied. My miscellaneous cream sponge bag in my bathroom is the most curious museum to every ailment I've ever had, and a strange desire for those ailments to return. I got genuinely sad a few months ago when I threw away a tube of the hemorrhoid cream Anusol because it had passed its sell-by date. 5 years ago I had hemorrhoids, the rumours are true, I dealt with the situation swiftly and efficiently using Anusol. Other anal creams are available, I'm not being sponsored by Anusol, but that is the marketing that I seek and crave. Spent the following 5 years almost hoping, in a weird way, for more piles later down the line, just so I could achieve that life goal of seeing out the soul. I don't think that works quite as well with a mask of your friend's face from a stag do. Even if my friend were to remarry and there was another stag do and there were more mask-based jolly japes, I think it would be considered bad stag vibes as the masks came out for me to reach into my own bag and go, oh no, still got mine from 2021 actually. Some of us still remember Louise.